We have reached patch 1.3, and with this we have new characters, and it raises the question of who's the best. Let's build a tier list and find out who is in the god tier. Arlan is our berserker, sacrificing his own life for damage bonuses. Additionally, he doesn't consume skill points. What seems great at first glance turns out to be problematic. His damage bonus isn't that impactful, and he doesn't recover his life despite not using skill points. So he indirectly consumes skill points by requiring healers to cure him, potentially hurting your squisher character's healing. For the Blade wannabe, there is only one place, the D tier. Although she's Arlan's best friend, Asta is on the opposite side of the tier list. She's one of the best supports in the game right now, providing attack percentage and speed for the whole team. However, her value increases even further when she reaches E6 and consumes fewer skill points. She becomes versatile in almost any team composition. Her only weak point is that her skill is somewhat random, thus she's at the top of the A tier. Now let's enter into the God tier. We have Bailu. She offers substantial healing with her skill and ultimate, and she can even revive a fallen ally. Her downsides are that her skill is somewhat random and sadly lacks cleans. Nevertheless, when it comes to healing, she's as good as it gets. God tier. Transitioning from one god tier to another, we have Blade. As damage dealer or sub damage dealer, he doesn't rely heavily on his ultimate. Also, scaling with HP allows him to be a bit more tanky. He has a solid sustain with his talent and ultimate, and hardly consumes any skill points. However, he still needs a nearby healer for emergencies, and not all buffers are perfectly fit for him. Therefore, you must plan how to integrate him into your composition. Still, god tier. Continuing the god tier list, we have Bronya. She provides a range of offensive buffs, boosting damage, attack, and crit damage. Her skill, if well planned, can grant an extra turn to your characters. Her only weak point is that at E0, she constantly consumes skill points. Apart from that, she's the best buffer you can have. Clara is my favorite character, hence god tier. Wait, what? I need to be fair? Okay, here we go. Clara is sturdy, with her ultimate allowing her to withstand significant damage. She also possesses excellent AoE. However, she has a major issue. To use her follow-up attack, she needs to be hit. On one hand, this means that there is no limit to the damage that she can deal in a turn. On the other hand, to achieve optimal results, she can be paired with a preservation character, which limits her compositions. Additionally, as her damage is variable and out of her control, she can't be your sole damage dealer. For these reasons, unfortunately, Clara is in the A tier. Heng is one of the earliest characters we get access to, but don't underestimate him. He's not weak by any means. He boasts a high damage multiplier and can apply slow to opponents. However, he relies on his allies to trigger his talents and maximize his kit. Furthermore, he requires a deep understanding of his kit to unlock his full potential. Nonetheless, he's at the top of B tier. Fu Xuan is the first of several upcoming characters that haven't been released yet, but I'll venture to analyze them. From what we know, she'll be an excellent tank, capable of mitigating damage for allies, healing herself, and buffing her HP and crit rate. I expect her to fall between S tier and God tier. The only factor that might prevent her from reaching God tier is that her team will still need a healer to survive longer content. Gepard is undoubtedly the best shooter. Forget the rest of his kit. His focus is solely on his ultimate, which provides shields based on his defense. Thankfully, his ultimate costs only 100 energy and is quickly available to protect the team. By acting as a tank, his shields can even replace the need for a healer. However, the rest of his kit offers little to no use. Still, he's a god tier. I won't risk pronouncing her name, so let's go with Guinaifen. She's another character with very little information available, except that she'll be nihilistic and fire. However, my expectation is that she'll resemble other characters focused on damage over time. In this case, I imagine she'll be in the B tier, as her gameplay will be quite limited to a specific playstyle. Herta, owner of one of the best shops in the game, unfortunately performs poorly. Her damage is minuscule, to the point that her skill and basic attack have the same multipliers. Her follow-up attack is hard to trigger, especially against stronger opponents. Her ultimate's damage is also small and lack any additional effects. Traces and Eidolons are basically useless. Unfortunately, when creating this character, they forgot to give her a proper kit. Hence, Herta is in the D tier. Himeko is the disappointment among the 5 stars. She's good with AoE, but that's pretty much it. Her follow-up is limited, and her skills scale based on the number of opponents. Even her light cone attack can only be used against many enemies. This makes her extremely limited and challenging to use against bosses. For this reason, Himeko is unfortunately in the C tier. To accompany Himeko in the C tier, we have Hook. She's one of the most charismatic characters, and I wish she had a better gameplay. However, she faces the same challenges as other damage over time characters. Her gameplay is highly limited, and without Kafka, it lacks a significant impact. To make matters worse, her damage is mainly single target, and her skill takes time to reach the mode that offers the most damage. In game modes, where the number of turns is critical, this becomes a huge problem. Imbibitor Lunae is the latest character released, and I'll bite my tongue. He's way better than I expected. He has some huge damage, even comparable to Seele, being capable of nuking even some of the hardest bosses. Still, it is difficult to build for him because of his huge skill point consumption and expensive build. Daniel is in the god tier, although in the low end. Jing Yuan, or Mid Yuan for the closest friends, is the second disappointment among the 5 stars. Relax, he's still in the S tier. However, it is in the low end of the S tier. There was much hype around his damage potential, but unfortunately he was nerfed before released. Today, he still deals considerable damage and excels in breaking weaknesses, especially with the Lightning Lord, as each hit is counted separately. However, he heavily relies on Tingyun to consistently use his ultimate, since she acts as a battery for him. Although Jingliu is only released in patch 1.4, we have some basic information about how she works. She'll be a nice element and destruction character, boasting high attack, defense and HP. I just talked about being cautious with hype. My hype for her is quite high. Seeing that she likely scales with attack, my impression is that she should be at the top of S tier, serving as another alternative for a nice damage dealer. Kafka is the queen of damage over time, essential for any composition using this playstyle, and when built correctly, she annihilates everything in her path. However, she requires a significant investment, especially in speed turning and a highly specialized composition. Therefore, she's at the top of S tier. Luka is part of the damage over time team, making him easy to build. He doesn't need crit rate or crit damage. His main source of damage is bleed, so he relies on Kafka to do some nasty damage. Unfortunately, without Kafka, he's quite limited. What's worse is that the max HP damage part of his skill is kept by his attack, so he's in the B tier. Luocha is the best healer in the game. His primary benefit is being an auto healer. If someone takes too much damage, he automatically heals without consuming skill points. When he reaches a minimum number of stacks, he activates his healing field, ensuring that all damage dealt by your team heals your entire team. Additionally, his healing provides cleanse, and his ultimate removes buffs from opponents. To be nitpicky, he scales with attack, which makes him quite fragile, but without a doubt, Luocha is a god tier. Lynx will be the next healer added in the second part of patch 1.3, but we already know that she'll offer single and multi-target healing, continuous healing, and cleanse. She'll be extremely necessary for any team, especially if you want to tackle tougher content. Therefore, Lynx should be in the A tier. March is one of the most versatile supports in the game, offering freezing, shields, and cleans. Additionally, her shield can increase a character's aggro, and if you reach E6, she even provides a small heal. Her main issue is that because she offers a bit of everything, she's not a specialist in anything, and you quickly find better characters for your composition. Still, March 7th is an excellent recommendation and therefore is in the A tier. Natasha is Lynx's partner, and both are 4-star healers. Natasha offers a kit very similar to Lynx, so she's also in the A tier. Pela is one of the best supports for your team, offering good debuffs, freeze, and the ability to dispel enemy buffs. Additionally, she's excellent in skill point management, therefore she's in the S tier. Qingque is an odd character. She makes a questionable first impression, but becomes a formidable damage dealer when fully built. Her biggest challenge is that her damage is entirely random. Moreover, she can use her skill to increase her damage and potentially enhance her basic attack. Initially, this mechanic seems confusing, but the more you play, the easier it becomes, and the more you realize Qingque's strength. It's worth noting that Qingque devours skill points for breakfast and requires a team's assistance to recover these points. For these reasons, Qingque is in the A tier. Sampo is an excellent damage over time character, great for breaking weaknesses weaknesses and increase opponent's vulnerability to damage over time when applying his ultimate. However, to shine, he needs to be in a team with other characters applying damage over time. Hence, Kafka is nearly mandatory for his composition. That's why he's in the B tier. Seele is the character with the highest single target damage in the game. She can melt bosses like no other character can. Even in situations with a high number of opponents, if she can get the stats to keep attacking, she can contribute significantly. Her only problem is the high consumption of skill points, especially if there is no proper speed planning in your team. But without a doubt, she's in the God tier, and I'm praying for her to have a second banner. Serval is an excellent free character with crucial AoE damage, and she's also efficient with skill points. However, the best way to play with her is based on her damage over time, placing her in the B tier. Silverwolf is the best debuffer in the game, offering a variety of weaknesses for your enemies, but the main feature of her kit is the ability to add a new element weakness to her opponents, allowing single type teams. She doesn't have any major drawbacks. Perhaps the only detail is that she can be a bit skill point hungry depending on your luck. For these reasons, Silverwolf is in the God tier. Sushang is an excellent weakness breaker, providing significant damage and multiple consecutive attacks. Her only issue is the high consumption of skill points, which can be mitigated by reaching E1. Therefore, she is in the A tier. There is not much to say about Tingyun. She's the best 4-star character to have in any team. She offers buffs to attack, damage, and can even increase other characters' energy. For these reasons, she's in the highest tier. Topaz still has little information released, making it difficult to estimate her position, but I'm expecting her to perform similar to Seele, as she's also a hunt character, not part of the conventional banner. So I'm placing her in the God tier, but she'll certainly be reviewed in the future. The Destruction Trailblazer is an excellent starter character, but falls off in the late game. Due to his extremely simple kit, he struggles to remain relevant. He ends up in the mere D tier. On the other hand, his preservation version is much more interesting, offering a good taunt and being one of the best tanks in the game, deserving of the A tier. For a long time, Welt was the only imaginary element unit, but that changed in the recent patches. He offers a bit of everything in his kit, providing a lot of damage, slow, and imprisonment. That's why he's at the top of the A tier. Yanqing is a complicated character. He receives a lot of stats and scales very well, and his freezing ability helps keep him safe. But above all, he must not lose health to remain at his best, so shooting him is crucial. Additionally, optimizing him can be quite tricky, which is why he's at the A tier. Yukong is an excellent buffer, especially for characters serving as nukes, as she offers crit damage and crit rate. However, her need for speed turning complicates her use and increases the investment required for her build. That's why she's near the top of A tier. That's it, guys. What do you think about the tier list? Leave in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to never lose a 50-50. Thank you, and see you next time.
It's that time again to get busy with it. Best go find your